I'm Joe Reed, and this is Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. Robin Whitten is with me. She is the founder of AudioFile, and we have a very interesting docket this week. We were celebrating the Audio Awards yesterday, and one of the winners. And today, what are we looking at?
I'm just taking a moment to look back at last year's Audie Awards. And I was thinking when I saw this title, which is King a Life, the Young Adult Edition, how Jonathan Ive's title last year, the performance won Best Nonfiction Narrator by Dion Graham, who also narrates this Young Adult Edition.
And this edition was Jonathan Ive the author as well, or
It's Jonathan Ive's original text and then adapted by Yohuru Williams and Michael G. Long.
and they were National Book Award finalists for young people's literature for More Than a Dream.
Oh, I
Michael and Yohuru.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh. And so they're completely into the Martin Luther King territory and this wonderful biography. It's interesting to me how engaging. I mean, I think the book is important and so wonderful, but I think how they have taken this and adapted it for younger listeners is really interesting. I was really swept up in it. And of course, Golden Voice Dion Graham never disappoints.
I would love to find out from Dion what it was like narrating Jonathan Ive's book, which won the Pulitzer Prize, and then, yeah, narrating the young adult edition of it.
Oh yeah, we should find out because I'm sure he would be glad to tell us. But, it's I think that sometimes you wonder whether an edition that is adapted for young people, how that works. And one of the things that I noticed, having listened to a little bit of the full length edition, Dion really channels Dr. King's speech patterns. And believe that in this edition, he makes the quotations of King's speeches more clearly get the cadence.
Jonathan Ive's Pulitzer Prize winning book is very, very long. Does this match the length?
No, I mean, I think that's one of the things, that the adaptation did is this is 4.5 hours,
Ah,
which is, I think, a good length for teens and younger listeners.
I agree.
Also, I think this would be an important title if you're going to take a trip with a family and you wanted some family listening for middle
Mhm.
grade, certainly middle grade listeners and teens, and for adults. This is also a way, if you hadn't experienced the full length biography, then to really learn a lot about Dr. King's life.
I first, as you know, I love YA books, and I think with histories, I think what they often can do is open the doors for further explorations.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's emphasized here, I think, is not just facts of elements of Dr. King's life, but his humanity and his humanness, which I think really can resonate with younger listeners
Yeah, I agree.
and draws them in. This is not, just an icon, the person and the struggles that he had, and that not everything went right and easy, certainly not easily. He was often exhausted and discouraged. And I picked a clip that is a point in Dr. King's life in 1964.
Okay, why don't we hear that?
It is a point where, Dr. King is exhausted and has checked himself into a hospital.
Okay. This is King a Life, Young Adult Edition by Jonathan Eig, Yohuru Williams, and Michael G. Long. It's read by Dion Graham.
Coretta confirmed as much, saying Martin had moments when he felt depressed. Utterly exhausted and unable to sleep, King, on October 13th, 1964, checked into St. Joseph's Infirmary in Atlanta, where he swallowed a sleeping pill and fell into a slumber. Coretta called the next morning to tell him he'd won the Nobel Peace Prize. I thought I was still asleep, King told reporters from his hospital bed. For a moment, I thought it was all a dream. When Coretta and a few of his closest aides arrived, he asked them to join him in prayer and pointed out that the Nobel would require them all to work harder than ever. Not everyone offered congratulations. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel, said Bull Connor in Birmingham. He's caused more strife and trouble in this country than anyone I can think of.
I see exactly what you mean about what Dion is doing with Dr. King's voice. He's not mimicking him at all, but it is the speech patterns and just a very big suggestion
Mhm.
of Dr. King.
Right. And I think particularly for young listeners, making sure that direct quotes are very clear. And of course, in this clip, we've got three characters. We've got Coretta Scott King and Bull Connor, the white supremacist from
Mhm.
Birmingham that features, unfortunately, in all the conflict. Yeah,
Dion won an Audie Award this year too for a YA title.
that's right. He continues to be such a gifted narrator, and this is an Earphones Award winning title. And of course, Jonathan Ives' biography was celebrated also.
Great choice. Thank you so much, Robin. That is King a Life, Young Adult Edition by Jonathan Eig, adapted by Yohuru Williams and Michael G. Lawn, and read by Dion Graham. I will talk to you tomorrow.
We will, Joe. That'll be great.
And we're going to change it up this week. So stick around because I'm going to ask you for some input here. And that is on Friday, we have a special edition of Behind the Mic. It is the AudioFile magazine's audio book club pick, which is how women made music. This book is based on the project Turning the Tables, and I speak with Ann Powers, who is one of the creators of Turning the Tables and who wrote the introductory essay to How Women Made Music, and Alison Fensterstock, who also actually is one of the creator of Turning the Tables and is the editor of How Women Made Music, which is the book that came out of that. And the goal of the project is to reframe the history of popular music through the lens of women artists. That's what it is. And what is so wonderful, and especially in an audiobook, is that they have these extraordinary essays by women music writers, and interspersed they have audio excerpts from the NPR archives to include the voices of the artists the music writers are writing about. So we hear the voices of Patti Smith, of Laura Nyro, of Joni Mitchell, of Roberta Flack. I seriously could go on. I mean, so many voices.
Right.
Now, and I want you to explain just a little bit about what the audiobook club is.
So we've selected How Women Made Music as the audiobook club selection for the beginning of 2025. And what we do with that is we've created a whole section of the AudioFile website with special features, which include our podcast interview, videos with the authors and contributors to the book and audiobook, and music playlists. So, as we are listening to different parts of the book, we can switch over and get some of the playlists from Spotify or Apple Music where you're actually listen to the music that is being discussed in the book. So it's really very multimedia. And then there are more audiobooks to listen to from our curated section of women in music. And it just goes on. So you have to go to the AudioFile website, audiobook club page, and explore all the things we have around how women made music.
And then on Friday, you can hear my interview with Ann Powers and Alison Fensterstock. And they are lovely and lively and knowledgeable. And it was really a really wonderful and provocative conversation. I enjoyed it greatly.
And, this is a whole new way to look at audiobook club or book club selections. We've built this out as a very exciting project with lots of media and ideas for how to listen to how women made music.
And I think it is also a fabulous way to mark Women's History Month.
And that too. The timing is good, right?
You did this well, Robin. Thank you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
We will.